read my diary every night, but I started writing back to him. When I was 14, my stepdad started acting like he knew things he was never supposed to know. Not big things at first, small things. If I wrote in my diary that I hated broccoli, the next night he would smile at dinner and say, "Funny how some kids act like vegetables are poison." If I wrote that I had a crush on a boy named Ryan, the next morning he asked me in front of my mom, "So who is this Ryan kid?" My stomach dropped every time. But whenever I asked how he knew, he just laughed and said, "Parents know everything," but he wasn't my parent. He was the man my mom married after my dad died. And from the beginning, something about him felt wrong. He was too calm, too quiet, always standing in doorways, always looking at me like he was waiting for me to slip up. My diary was the only place I felt safe. I kept it under my mattress, inside an old pillowcase, behind a stack of books. At least I thought it was safe. Then one afternoon, I came home early because soccer practice got canceled, and when I opened my bedroom door, I saw him standing beside my bed. My mattress was lifted. My diary was in his hand. For a second, neither of us moved. Then he smiled like I had caught him doing nothing wrong and said, "I was just checking if you were hiding anything dangerous." I wanted to scream, but my mom was at work, and I knew if I told her, he would twist it somehow. So I acted scared. I apologized. I said I wouldn't write private things anymore. He believed me. That was his first mistake. Because that night, I started a new diary. But this time, I didn't write my feelings. I wrote for him. "Dear diary, I think my stepdad is watching me again." The next morning, he barely looked at me, so I kept going. "Dear diary, I found something in the hallway closet, but I don't know if I should tell mom." The next day, the hallway closet was completely cleaned out. That's when I knew he was still reading it. So I made the entries worse. "Dear diary, I heard him talking on the phone in the garage. He said something about my mom's bank account. That night, he checked the garage for almost an hour. Then I wrote, "Dear diary, tomorrow I'm going to tell grandma everything." The next morning, he suddenly told my mom I was being dramatic and unstable. But my mom didn't believe him immediately this time, because I had already told grandma, and grandma had already helped me hide a small camera inside my bookshelf. For 3 nights, it recorded him entering my room after midnight, lifting my mattress, reading my diary, then putting it back like nothing happened. But the final video was the worst. He didn't just read it, he took pictures of the pages with his phone. When my mom saw the footage, she went completely silent. Not crying, not yelling, just silent. Then she turned to him and asked one question. "How long have you been doing this?" He tried to say he was protecting me, but grandma cut him off and said, "Protecting her from what?" Her own thoughts. He left that same night. A week later, my mom found out he had been using things from my diary to control the whole house. My fears, my secrets, my arguments with friends, even things I missed about my real dad. He wasn't trying to protect me. He was trying to study me. And the diary he thought made me weak was the only reason we finally saw who he really was.